What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube space? I think it's time. I know I've dabbled, I've talked about it, I've wanted to do it for so long, but I think it's time to pull the trigger on some solar. So I've reached out to some other creators that are in the solar space. By the way, if you're in solar and know solar and like are about it, hit me up, please drop a comment. I'm always willing to learn more, but let me give you my basic rundown here and then we'll go from there. So I'm looking for budget solar. I found a supplier in Virginia and they have anywhere from 2 to 5 year old panels. They're 310 watt panels. He said their rough dimensions are like, I think he said 6 by 2, give or take. So 6 foot by 2 foot. I think we can make that work. Now the cost on them, he said he normally does them for $50 a piece, but if you buy bulk, he can knock them down to 40. And if you buy bulk, he can knock them down to 30 a piece. So obviously the cost on the panels, amazing. He said these panels they're rated at 30 or 35 years. So he's like, they have a lot of life left. Don't have to worry about any issues like that. But the unforeseen things here is like inverter and then, you know, batteries. So I've gone down the rabbit hole of batteries. I'm not doing batteries. So I saw Ed Solar. I've been watching Ed Solar. By the way, shout out Ed Solar. I've been trying to get in contact with you, dude. I love your setup. And I'm basically going to try to emulate it with my limited amounts of knowledge and then talking to other people. Also, shout out Dragon in the Discord. His setup is a little bit more battery focused, but still awesome guy, wealth of knowledge. If you need solar advice, he can definitely help you out. He's walking the walk essentially. Now I have this land up here. I cleared this entire area, which it doesn't even look that big on camera, but from the tree line there to the tree line over there, it ends up being about 180 feet across. And then from where because this is a slope that goes up, and from the top of the slope to the back, about 400 feet. So like, you know, probably could have a football field up there realistically, but we're not going to. But that is where I cleared, because later on I'm going to eventually build another house and all that. Got all these grand plans. Anyway, I have land. It is cleared and open. There is some tree cover, but it's not horrible. We got some wide open spaces, because I do not want to put solar on top of my buildings. I don't. So I'm going to do ground mount. I'm going to chop all this down, level it out. It's pretty level up there. It's mostly just like weeds and stuff. Chop all that down, level it out. I'm going to be getting, I asked him on a quote for 40 panels, what he could do me price wise. So 40 panels a time, you know, if you don't get full production obviously, but 310 watts. So 4 times 3, 12. That's like a 12 kilowatt worth of solar. Now I don't want to run batteries, so I'd only be able to run it during full sunlight. It said in North Carolina on average throughout the year. Obviously you have more in the summer, less in the winter, but I'm only looking at about a little over 7 hours on average throughout the year of full sunlight. So not great, but I don't have the battery cost. Now inverters, I've been looking at a bunch of different ones, and actually Ed Solar just reviewed the Vivor one. I would not recommend putting any of these cheaper inverters or cost-effective inverters inside of my house. I am going to be putting up building a small little building up there on the hill. Something that I'm probably going to build it on pallets. That way if I need to move it, or on skids, I can just move it. Same with my ground mount solar. I think I'm going to build them on like a triangle. I saw a guy online that did like a triangle frame, and if he needs to move it, he actually has like eye bolt hooks, and he can hook up to it and drag it around. Really cool setup. But I'm going to build a little building up there to house the miners and also house the inverters. It looks like I could do the Vivor makes a 240 volt, it's a 6 kilowatt or 6,500 watt inverter. And you don't need batteries for it. Now they will probably need a staggered start whenever the miners come online. Looked into that, and there's multiple different ways to do that. Hoping I can get up with Ed Solar. I'd love to know how you're doing it. So cost wise on those, they're like $350, and they have Wi-Fi monitoring, which is super cheap. So if they do catch on fire, it's not going to burn my house down. and because I would not recommend putting cheap inverters in your house. Don't do that. That's bad. But yeah, so I'm looking at really cheap solar panels, also cost-effective inverters, and then we're going to be running previous generation tech for the actual miners, and this is where it all starts coming together. So I saw Ed's solar, and he's doing like some S19s. I think he even had some S17s. And over the years, I have acquired a lot of stuff because I've been buying and selling computer parts for a long time. And I have some S17 Pluses, and I believe I have one S17 Pro. I have an S19 that needs a hashboard repair. But I was like, I have these miners, and they're not doing anything. I could throw up some solar, put them in there, get them making money. Because they might not make much, and they might burn a lot of power. But their ROI is definitely going to be significant before the panels go bad. I was supposed to turn there. I didn't. Anyway, now I was just running some rough numbers. I also have a bunch of L3s, and I was just basing it off of L3s. And realistically, depending on how good of a deal I get on the panels and how good of a deal I did on the inverters, each inverter says it's 6,500 watts peak. So if we did that like 80%, roughly about 5,000 watts, I could fit about 8 L3 pluses running like a Hive On or a Vanish, something that's running them a little bit more efficiently in like the 600 wattish range per unit. And 8 of those are doing roughly at 7 hours average about $1.15 a day total for all 8 of them in that 7 hours average. Obviously in the summertime I'd get more, in the wintertime I'd get less. We're just working on averages here. And if I'm not keeping anybody, I do apologize. My brain is like a jumbled ball of mess. I have a spreadsheet at home. You don't want to see it because I'll have to clean the spreadsheet up to make it understandable for most people. But yeah, so now Mike, I figured my rough average cost, and I budgeted myself per, because I'll build this out probably per inverter. So 22 panels, that would be 6,600 watts for that 6,500 watt inverter, because we want a little bit of headroom there. I figured my cost would end up being right around $2,000 for the panels, the inverter. I gave myself $300 of wire / miscellaneous cost. I don't have any batteries budgeted into that, but I was talking to 2 people, and they said, you'll absolutely need 1 battery. And then the other guy said, oh, you absolutely won't, because this inverter has this mode, like direct PV or whatever. So I guess I really won't know until I get it in, because trying to find reviews and stuff, most people are not using this inverter in this application. Not that it can't be used in this application, but I got to get my hands on it and try it. So panels, about $300 in miscellaneous / wire cost. Inverter, I'd be right around, and also if I had to buy 8 L3 pluses at $80 a piece, because that's about the going price on eBay, I figured all that in, I'd be right around $2,000, and at $1.15 a day, which is on average 7 hours of mining on each of those. Because if you mine 24/7, an L3 plus makes almost 50 cents a day. It's like 48 cents. And that's at current values of Doge and everything right now. Obviously, take a look at this video when it's uploaded. I think it's like November 2nd right now, 2025. Everything's subject to change, by the way. And I'm not going to do just L3 pluses. This is just me like communicating with you guys and like giving you an example. I'd be somewhere around like 1,800 days ROI. And that sounds horrible, right? What's that? 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That's like 5 to 6 years ROI. Not great. But here's the big but here. It doesn't cost you $1 every day. It doesn't cost you anything. As long as nothing breaks, it just runs. And my goal here is to build it out bigger in stages. And some of these bigger miners obviously make more. I think, hold on. Let me pull up some values real quick. All right, so I just ran the numbers on the S17 Pluses because I have 2 of those that, by the way, S17s are famous for having the heat sink issues, so I probably will have to repaste or re-epoxy my heat sinks. That's just part of it. But I could run 2 of those with the reduced like Vanish or some kind of aftermarket software, or even Brains. And if I divided it by 24, that way I get my hourly rate, and did it by the 7, it's like 7.2 hours average in North Carolina. Obviously more in the summer, less in the winter. That would give me my average daily revenue on S17 Pluses at a little over $2 for 2 units, because I could fit 2 units on that 6 kilowatt inverter, running it at 80% load, because we'd also be turning back the power usage with the aftermarket firmware. I would not run these at full tilt, because then that would have the inverter at full tilt, and that's never going to last. You know, can't run her at 100% all the time. So we're sticking for those 80% rules, by the way. So obviously that a little over $2 a day already cuts my ROI time in half. We go from, you know, what, 1,800 days to somewhere in the range of like 900 days. So, and instead of 5 years, we're looking at 3 years, 2 years and change. That's not bad. That's not bad. And that's not even a great efficiency. See, if we stepped up and scooped up ourselves some deals on some S19s. So I have that one S19 that needs repair. It's like the better units we can get efficiency wise for a good price, the better our ROI can be. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. So, does this make sense to get rich quick? No. Does this make sense for like your average person that lives in an apartment? No. The amount of solar I'm going to have is going to be significant, so it's going to take up square footage. It's going to be a good amount of hands-on DIY. It's going to be a fun project, though. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really kind of hyping myself up. I know there's going to be some like Debbie Downers and some naysayers down below in the comments section. Where I'm at right now, this is my forever home. Not necessarily house, because I want to build another house, probably where the solar is going to be. So I'll probably eventually need to clear some more section and then move the solar. But we're probably not going to build for another 3 to 4 years, give or take. But in the meantime, I'm just concentrating on using what I have. And I'm never going to be moving from where I'm at. So it's not like I'm going to have to worry about, moving into an apartment, got to get rid of, 80 solar panels and 5, 10 inverters and little sheds and stuff. No, we're not going to have to worry about that. We're just going to be chilling. But yeah, for all the people that have like constructive things to say, please comment down below. Let me know. I'd love to know more information. It looks like these inverters have an acceptable voltage range input, and it's the Vivor 240 volt 6,000 watt inverter is the one I'm looking at. It says anywhere from like 30 volts to 500 volts. So I guess I'll be able to do a combination of series and parallel across the panels. That way I could raise the voltage up, so I don't have to run super thick wire to make my runs. I don't think I'm going to be doing, hold on, it's hanging up, so there's a scam caller. I don't think I'm going to be placing the little house or the mining, shed, whatever we want to call it, very far away from where the panels are. So that way I don't have to have a lot of wire cost on that either. But I know raising the voltage helps with that, degradation voltage drop across spans. Whereas like if you're running 12 volt across a span, you need a super thick wire. But if you step it up to 24, 38, 60, 120, it just gets better. You can get away with a lot more voltage without loss across that distance. So again, I am super green to this and willing to hear out anybody. Please drop it down below. Give me some comments, some criticism. Let me know if I'm crazy. And let me know if you're interested in watching the series, because definitely gonna probably make a whole series out of it. This is probably the worst time to start because we're coming into winter time, and I know it said, I was looking at like Google and stuff, and like we're about to be coming into like 5-hour sunlight days or 5-hour peak sunlight days. That's just not going to be great. But hey, that's part of the process, part of the fun, right? Part of the fun. Yeah. So Anyway, guys, y'all have a good one. I'll see you on the flip side.